Hello there, my name's Jim Rees. I'm representing DJ School UK, and I just want to do a short video to compare two of the main current popular types of software that are being used in education to try and give teachers, youth workers, occupational therapists and people who might be considering using DJing in their line of work to engage young people to make a valid and educated decision about what route they're going to take in terms of software. So now let's look at these two different forms, these two most common forms of software and controllers in education. What you've got on the screen, if I just remove my face, because we don't really need that there, this is Rekordbox. Let's just look at Rekordbox. This is Rekordbox software. As you can see, you've got two kind of units here with players, and up here you've got a close-up of the waveform. Let me put the controller back on. When you look at the waveform, you can actually see as soon as I move the controller, the waveform plays. So what happens with the waveform is you hear the sound as it passes this midpoint. It's very intuitive, it's very easy to use. Down here you've got a library section, you've got playlists over here or albums, you've got songs over here, and when you're ready you just load them up and they will ask you some analysis settings if you've not done that before, and then they'll load a song. It's that easy. Sorry, I forgot to mention, this is a DDJ FLX4. It's a good controller, it's reasonably priced. An alternative, if I go back to this screen, is this one. This is a Numark Mixtrack Pro FX, which works with Serato software, which I will have to use editing on this video. So let's just flash up a image of Serato. I'm not going to go to the trouble of disconnecting the Rekordbox at the moment and showing you Serato, because there are series of teacher training videos available from us which go into detail in both the two software platforms and the two controllers, just so that you know. One of these, a Numark Mixtrack Pro, costs about £179 at the moment. This is October 2024. Really hard wearing. We've put these through the paces for years at DJ School UK, and we very seldom have any issues with them. The effects on these are really nice big toggle buttons, and the performance pads, which are for kind of all kinds of editing and cue drumming and tone play, are nice rubberized platters. Very easy to press, very responsive. On the Flex 4 here, the effects unit is a little less easy to get to, but to a lot of respects, the effects are actually more in depth on Rekordbox. The performance pads here, I don't know if you can hear that in the video, but these are little clicky pads, so they're not quite as tactile as the rubber pads on the Mixtrack, but they're still very good. On the Mixtrack, you get mini jack and 1/4" jack, so you can have two pairs of headphones as long as you've got an adapter at a time. On the Flex 4, you get one mini jack, but using splitters, you can get. We regularly work with 4 young people around one controller, sharing the unit. So back to the main differences. The Mixtrack Pro, £179, the Flex 4, £279. So there's a big difference in price. But, and this is important, with Rekordbox, the DJI Flex 4, you automatically get the software for free. And that's the full software. With Numark and Serato, you only get the light software, which has less of the performance pad options, less loop sizes, less effects, and no internal record. To upgrade to the full version of the software is normally £259, but quite expensive. But generally, it's still free for education establishments. And I'm saying generally because we haven't had any failures yet. The people at Serato are really supportive. But Rekordbox people recently bought Serato, so we're not quite sure what's going to happen in the future in terms of the model and the pricing. Rekordbox, on top of its fee for the unit, the fact that its software is free at the moment might be a bit of a misnomer because they have recently introduced a subscription to people who have older units. So if you bought an older unit known as a DDJ 400, you now have to pay for the latest versions of Rekordbox, which is a little bit cheeky, I find. I think if you pay for something, you should be able to have it for life. But DJ software is constantly getting upgrades, and this is something else that differs in the two platforms. Rekordbox has lots more kind of gimmicks and automation and ways of mixing that simplify things, which is great if you're working with special educational needs, hard to reach children, because you can do almost everything almost like it's a toy through automation. So there's very little demand on the learner. You can turn all those features off and then increase the demand on the learner, just like you could with Serato. Serato also has a lot of automation, but the user interface is generally a lot clearer, a lot easier to use. And if we start thinking about the kind of behind the scenes in software in Rekordbox, if I come up here and click on this cog, there are so many different types of preferences that can be played with, and lots of them have these extra tabs up here. Serato has some of that, but nowhere near as much, and you will probably be aware if you're working with young people that sometimes if there's things behind the scenes that people could play with, they're going to play with them, and then you're going to end up with issues in classrooms because you don't know what's been changed and what settings have been altered. Pioneer here, this is called a jog wheel. Newmark, this is called a platter. Auto loops on Serato are called beat loops on Rekordbox. There's small differences like that. On Serato, if you're trying to fold and unfold playlists in your library, you can't do that from your controller. You have to do that with a mouse, which removes the learners from the controller. We like learners to use the controller as much as possible because that is their instrument, and stay away from using the laptop. On the Rekordbox Flex 4 unit, you can use the mouse and fold and unfold folders. Yeah, all these folders called everything just means that my iTunes is a mess. You can do that quite easily with the controller there. So there's pros and cons to both. In a nutshell, DJ schools used Serato and the mix track for 10 years and watched it grow and think it's really trustworthy and reliable, but it's recently been bought by Pioneer, so we don't know how it's going to go in future, and we don't know if they're going to still be offering the free upgrades to the full software for education establishments. Rekordbox is here, it's okay. The Flex 4 is a nice unit, but it's got a lot of extra automation that you have to learn to be able to turn off to avoid your children using it, because they won't learn much if it's all being done automatically for them. But at the moment, the Flex 4 and Rekordbox is cheaper than the Mixtrack Pro and Serato, unless you get Serato support and get the software upgrade for free. So just to summarise, if you're thinking of using DJing in your setting, whether it's a classroom, whether it's as a peripatetic support teacher, whether it's in rehabilitation, occupational therapy, youth work, whatever it is, there are other options. There's virtual DJ, algorithm, tractor DJ, but these two we find are the kind of leaders in the field. Pioneer and Rekordbox, or Newmark and Serato. For budget units with quality software, and what you get is a way of teaching music that is culturally relevant, instantly accessible, and leads on to levels of demand equal to traditional instruments, and may even lead on to the people, the students wanting to learn the traditional instruments themselves. As I say, we are DJ School UK. There are dedicated video series available for each of the two platforms that I've mentioned here, and they're not focused on learning how to DJ, they're focused on learning how to educate. So although they'll also teach you how to DJ, they're much more focused and much more specific to saying how you can apply this activity to teach music in a classroom to young people, to special needs people, to young people who are hard to reach, all those other groups that will benefit so much from something so instantly engaging. Thank you.